Hi everyone, Wade Beckersey. This is the Organic Podcast number 5. We have Sarah Reimann. Is that how we
Reimann.
Reimann. That's what I wanted to check before. That's Sarah Reimann. And from your accounting firm is
Equity Flair.
Equity Flair. Joining us today. And Sarah has brought along the Gem Tree, my favourite Dragon's Blood Shiraz from South Australia. So Sarah, I'll give you the honours of saying hello and cracking the bottle.
Hello everyone, this is Dragon's Blood Shiraz from Gem Tree in McLaren Vale here in South Australia.
Have you tried this one before?
I haven't.
No, so it'll be a new experience
so
for
it
yourself.
Will be.
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit, yeah. Let's go a little bit.
Yes. My favourite one, so I could probably have a little bit. Yes, it always smells good. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank
you. Smells good.
You can go straight into it. I might just let mine settle for a little bit.
Wow, okay, that's good. Yeah.
So I suppose we start a little bit about wine and have a chat. You may have watched some of the podcasts before, but what's your favourite wine generally?
Generally, I'm a Riesling drinker, so I like to stick to Barossa and Clare Valley, which is again here in South Australia. I think we're pretty well sport for choice in terms of wine in this state.
The best in Australia, yeah, that's right.
International, I reckon. I mean, we went to New York 5 years ago and they had Barossa Valley Riesling there.
They had it there, you were able to get it. Nice.
Yeah. So I like, Riesling. In winter when it's cold like this, I like Shiraz. That's my go-to.
It's a bit colder than these days. I think it was only 5 degrees last night.
Yeah, that's right. So I drink more of this in winter, but the Riesling's in summer. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. And I suppose organic wines. Have you had an organic wine before?
I have. There's a place up at Summertown that makes and serves organic wine. They've got a small restaurant up there, and we only went up there a couple of weeks ago, and they had some organic Riesling, and they call them different names, and they look all murky and like they've got all bits in them. But they're a really.
It's just a small local.
And they actually produce their own wine for the restaurant as well. So if you're up in Summertown, drop in there.
Yeah, fantastic. And that was nice, obviously.
It was, different but nice.
And getting out and visiting the local economy, is that sort of part of the thing to go and visit?
Yeah, well,
we can't travel that well in the last couple of months, so.
Yeah, and they're clients of ours, so we try and support them, and they're sort of sustainable, organic, all of that. Grow their own produce out the back as well. So.
Okay. What's the name of it?
Summertown Aristologist. There's not too many up there, so you can't miss it.
Yeah, excellent. And I suppose the accounting side, how have you found things recently in the last month or two? I suppose we're sort of out of that serious COVID issue of what happened in South Australia and all the government, mandates and all that. But what have you found for the last few weeks within business, or the businesses you deal with?
Look, I these days I do more advisory than accounting, but the businesses that I have been doing coaching and advice with have sort of, some have done really well. Like there's the specific industries that obviously haven't done too well, like cafes and restaurants that had to close down. But
tourism, have you had any tourism?
No, I haven't had any tourism. But places like homewares, outdoor blinds and curtains, absolutely done so well. Yeah, had some of their best months ever. Solar companies, electrical, done really, really well in the last few months.
Okay.
And even some of our cafes, they've continued on in terms of trade because they've been able to do takeaway. They sort of thought outside the box and started selling produce, and they were able to stay open because of that. And they just sort of pivoted and changed. They've suffered a little bit, but certainly it's all coming back.
Yes,
for sure.
So confidence, I suppose, is out there at the moment.
Yeah.
That's good. And so the business owners that you're talking to and helping and assisting, what's sort of been that one main concern that they've had during this period? Is it just that uncertainty that you all have? That I'm feeling. I don't know.
Well, back in sort of late March, early April, I deal with some professional firms as well, like conveyancers and stuff like that, and their major concern was just uncertainty. What's going to happen? I mean, the conveyance obviously that was hit too because real estate was hit because they couldn't have open inspections. But now in June, July type of thing, she's getting more settlements in. So it's just uncertainty. Yeah, lots of industries back in March went, oh, what's going to happen? Am I going to survive? Am I not going to survive? But because of the government stimulus, most of them could fall back on that anyway. Yeah. So,
And I suppose now that it's the new financial year, and most companies will sit down and go through their goals for the next 12 months and their planning and their business plan and stuff, and you're sitting down and going through that with them, that's going to be different than it probably ever has been before, because to be able to plan for that next 3, 6, 12 months,
Yeah.
what goals do you set in your business? Is what have we found in that respect?
Yeah, just again, uncertainty. People sort of going, okay, let's do a plan for 90 days or something. Going, I'm not
Maybe
sure.
not that far ahead.
Yeah, maybe not even that far ahead. What's going to happen for the next year? And I have done a few budgets and stuff like that. But I think our economy here in South Australia, we're pretty lucky. We've really weathered it really well. And I've even got people coming to me going, look, I want to buy a pub, I want to buy a cafe, I want to.
They're actually
right now, yeah, they're
Okay.
looking to go out into different businesses and stuff like that. So I don't think we're.
So there could be cash flowing in different areas.
I think
Is that
so.
sort of what you're going to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people, I mean, you've got to be a little bit attuned into risk and like risk a little bit to go out and spend 300 or 400 grand on a pub or something
Yes.
like that. But if you can tolerate that, then yeah.
If it's in your, if you've got that cash, but if it's going to the bank to borrow at the moment, some banks are open to lending, some aren't. It depends on what they're.
Well, I think yesterday the government announced too that they were extending that 6-month hiatus out to January instead of September or November.
Okay.
For those, some people had their loans put on hold. So, like I had a business that had a post office, they got their business loan repayments put on hold for 6 months, and now I think the government's saying they've extended that until January.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that can be good and bad as well.
Yeah, I think from a re-borrowing perspective, or from if you're going to purchase another business or do something like that, I'm hearing that that's looked unfavourably if you've taken that extension.
Yeah, and it could be because they're still going to charge you interest. You're still going to have to repay that at some point. It's really just extending a 15-year loan out by 6 months or 8 months or whatever it is. So it's not like you get away with it. And again, that can be good and bad for some businesses too.
So would you advise to most businesses not to do that if they possibly?
Well, I did. Yeah, most
was that
people.
Sort of the way that you were going with the conversation.
I did, and even that one where there was a government stimulus about banks were lending up to 250,000 during coronavirus lockdown to help businesses out, and there was a little red tape that they had to go through. Even that, unless you really needed it, I wouldn't be borrowing for cash flow.
Unless you were a pub, for example.
Yeah, unless you. Yeah, well, that's right.
I've heard of one that it was about $500,000 worth of wages they had to cover till JobKeeper.
Yeah.
So that's quite.
Yeah, that's right. And then once the JobKeeper kicked in,
the government obviously paid.
So you shouldn't have needed to get those loans because the government put enough stimulus in the JobKeeper and in these cash flow boosts and all of these things that they had for you not to have to go and borrow.
I think staff or 80
yeah,
staff,
well, that's right.
I'm talking
short term.
You've got to cover that because you had to pay the JobKeeper before you got it back.
You did,
so there's some companies that had to go, okay, we don't have that cash resource because they're a business that relies on it daily to fund it. And if you've been cut down, you've got no daily funding.
There
was some out there like that.
Yeah, of course, for the short term stuff. Yeah, of course, because then hopefully you can pay it back when you get your JobKeeper.
That's right.
That's the idea.
So I suppose what do you see happening in say 6 months' time from some of those businesses out there? Do you think that there'll be a lot for sale?
Yeah, I think that we haven't seen the worst of it, and there's a lot of economists and commentary out there that are saying we haven't seen the worst of it. Like we're in July.
You believe that as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even just driving down through the city now, Prospect Road, O'Connell Street, Melbourne Street, all the sort of precincts. There's a lot of police signs. I think that there are going to be some businesses that won't weather it, and we haven't seen the worst. It's July. Between now and December, I think you might see that there's going to be a lot of businesses that will either close, especially cafes and restaurants.
Is that because we had an oversupply?
I think so. For me, I don't think a lot of these businesses it's because of COVID. I think that some of them perhaps didn't have a good plan or a good cash flow or good systems in their business to begin with, and Corona was just like another nail in the coffin. And I think
that's time to give up.
Yeah, because in any recessions, it's kind of like the strong survive, isn't it? And so the ones that you might see have closed down are probably people that already had debts with creditors or tax department or banks and stuff like that, and they're just not going to weather it at all. But if you've got a strong asset base and you've got a strong amount of cash in bank, then you are going to weather this stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody that's a startup business or looking to go into business at this point in time? We were only, I think, even when we caught up about 12 months ago, we were talking about startup businesses. It sort of was a time where people were that entrepreneurial. I think it was a big push for that's what the media and everyone was doing, but now you think that, I don't think that might be the case.
Yeah, I think. I think. You know, it's just like the stock market. What do? You buy when the stocks when they go down, and you sell when they're up. But human nature doesn't do that because people are risk averse. So the stock market's driven by emotion, not cash. But I think, I mean, for someone like me, I'm an optimist, right? So I'm thinking probably now is the best time to start a business because everyone else might be closing down. And as long as you've got a market for it, and
that may be coming from your perspective where you've been in business for a while. But I'm thinking more of the person that's, okay, I've been in a job.
Yeah,
see if market's opening up. That's sort of my question. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, okay. If you've never done it before, yeah. I don't know. I do. I think.
That's part of business coaching.
Yeah, that's
people
right.
that are about to start, I'm thinking.
My suggestion is you've got to get trained. Like, go and do some business training, whether it's with it doesn't matter what's, at TAFE or government departments or whatever these places. Do some business training. Don't just go and open something on your own without any advice.
Marketing, do your financial training.
Yeah. There's plenty of it around.
HR. Like you say,
just go and talk to other people in that industry. There's plenty of coaches and stuff that are specific to whatever industry you want to look at, and don't just go in blind. If you've got especially if you've got no finance knowledge as well, because that is a big part of having a successful business. If you don't understand finance, you better go get some advice.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you can be the best at something, but the finance will catch up to you eventually.
Yeah,
unless you make too much money and people take care of it. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which I don't think.
Not really.
That'd be a nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because people can also, like what you said, they might have worked in government or in a secure job, and they might have a whole lot of skills, and they've been doing that for 10 or 15 years. But a lot of the time, those skills don't transfer into business. Like, I might be a good plumber or electrician, I might be a good admin person, or I might be a good cafe, barista or whatever. But if I don't have the business skills that translate into that.
You can go and make the best coffees over here.
That's right, but if you don't have business skills, it's not going to work. So you need both, I think. Yeah.
And do you find those people that have been in that situation where they've gone and done a startup, it's a couple of years into it, they've forgotten to go and do the training, or not forgotten, haven't prioritised it, I probably should say it's better, and then you come along and go, okay, did you do this training? Have you done that? No, didn't get time to it. I was too busy wanting to sell nice coffee, for example. So is that when you go back to that?
Yeah, and
is that sort of
I find, a lot of the time I come in after the fact. So people will just ring, I'm like, I've bought a business. But they probably should have come and seen me 2 or 3 months before to go, look, I'm thinking of buying a business. Can you crunch the number? I mean, I've had recently, like I said, someone wanted to buy a pub and they did their due diligence. But most people will just go, I'll just go buy it. But they wanted a report from me. They wanted a business viability and financial viability report. Is this worth it? Is it worth what they're asking? What are the pitfalls?
Somebody else's opinion, and then they can make their informed decision.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't just get your opinion, they might have got
They could have, that's right. So
it's the best thing to do, right?
Yeah.
You want to ask 10 people to make a decision for one thing.
Spending $1,000 to save yourself 30 or 50 or 200 is probably a really good idea. That's right. Yeah.
And then to recover from that.
Exactly.
Well, how much money do you have to make to earn $400,000, right? For example, if that's the number, or is it $1 million, you might have to turn over $20 or $30 million before you even make.
That's right. Yeah, and they're
people
little.
Forget that part.
They do. They're little points that people forget. Yeah. It's for sure.
Especially when things have been good in that current situation they've been. Employed role, especially for a government position.
That's right.
Yeah. And I suppose what else are you finding in regards to, I suppose it's a busy time for the business side of things because they're in the financial year. Your something I was going to mention today is you're part of the Adelaide Business
House Australia.
Business House Australia. Yeah, I've noticed a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us a little bit about that for our audience and for myself as well. Give me a little bit more information.
Yeah.
We touched on it briefly last time we chatted, but
okay. So Business House Australia is a fairly new organisation, started about a year ago, and they're just about creating an environment for small business owners, like in terms of networking events. They run webinars, they run training seminars and events, and they're like a membership sort of base.
So you pay membership?
Yeah, so you can come along as a member, you can come along as a sponsor. We're actually starting to have live events now back at the Alma in Norwood. So that's really good. and I'm sort of a coach on their panel, and it's a family kind of business, but they probably get, you know, anywhere between 30 and 40 people at a breakfast, and they're all business owners that just are looking to either network with each other or learn something new. We have guest speakers.
Is it generally for somebody that's already in business, or could it be for somebody that's the startup that we're talking
about? Not so much startup.
It's not that space. I mean, we've got lots of startup spaces in Adelaide they can go to. So it's more an established business that's been running for a while. They want to grow their network, meet some new people. Yeah,
so things like Adelaide Business Hub, Polaris Centre, the BEC centres. No, they're for startups. They're more startup, but Business House Australia is more for established business owners. That's right. Yeah,
fantastic. And does the organisation partner with other organisations and do a mixed type event?
They haven't yet. We have got, like, let's say some of the guest speakers, might be from government departments, like John Chapman from the Small Business Commissioner will come along, someone like David Ridgway. We've got those sort of people that are in the government business sort of sector. They'll come along as guest speakers and do presentations as well. Okay. And sometimes we'll run charity events. We've got a Putt Street charity event coming up, and also partnering with the Dale Carnegie Institute as well, to do a full-day workshop as well. So,
and that workshop, I'm assuming, is around
like leadership, sort of, how to be a better business owner, soft skills, that sort of stuff.
How to communicate to people. Fantastic. Okay. I'm assuming there's going to be an uptake of that type of stuff.
I think so.
Because on the back of being stuck working from home, not seeing anyone watching, webinars and trying to learn from that. We've all been through that. I don't know if that's the way. I mean, obviously, if you're sitting here watching this video, that's the way we do learn and we do receive information these days. But I don't think it's the only way. You have to be sitting here face to face like this, having understanding things that we might not pick up from what we see on the video or from the audio.
That's right. And if anyone out there knows Adelaide, what you need to do in Adelaide is make relationships. You need to network in person and meet people for your business to be, there's sales and marketing, yes, and digital marketing and all that stuff, but creating actual personal relationships in Adelaide as a business owner is the only way to go. Yeah, for sure, because it's so small.
Exactly.
We all know each other.
We're not inundated with people, but I think we might be after this.
We could be. They might all be liking it here, coming over the border.
That's right, yes. And has any of your business been affected by the Victorian shutdown at all? Have you got your client base going to go that?
No, I generally deal with people in Adelaide. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And touching back on looking after the local economy and getting out there and seeing places and stuff, where would you suggest if, say, one of the people watching today haven't been to South Australia, thinking about coming because of, they're not travelling internationally, they're not spending their money overseas? Where would you
some little hot spots,
Have you got anything?
Well, I was up in Nuriupta on Monday, so I've got a client up there I was helping out, and I stopped at a few cafes along the way. And so, places like Nuriupta and Tanunda, which are up north, they've got some fantastic little cafes and restaurants up there, and wineries too. You could spend days going through Barossa wineries.
You could walk.
Yeah, that's right. And then if you come back through the Clare Valley, which is north as well, there's plenty of places through there like Skilligalee and stuff like that. They're brilliant. Coming into the city, North Adelaide, like one of my clients is Fair and Square, which is in Wellington Square. They've got brilliant food and
Fair and Square.
They even have wine and South Australian wine at night now as well.
Nice. Okay.
So, and again, coming down to McLaren Vale, where we've got our wine from, it's brilliant down there, especially in winter. It's a sea of green.
I think we've got so much, even as somebody that's lived here, I haven't even visited all these places, and this is a chance to go, okay, let's get out there and do that.
Yeah.
If we're not,
but we definitely, we need to support the small businesses a bit hit the hardest, and unfortunately that's the hospitality industry, but it's also the event industry, because I do a bit of speaking as well. So I had quite a number of speaking sort of gigs lined up, even training, because I do some training.
And they're live and
they all sort of got, most of them just got put on hold, and now I've got some more coming up in July and September and stuff like that. So it's all coming back. It's all coming back, because a lot of places weren't ready to go on Zoom. No, they just didn't have the tech resource. I did some. I went to Facebook and did some Facebook Lives and some Zoom calls during April and stuff like that, which was quite well received.
I suppose.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and just doing stuff on finance because people want to know about money, like how do I handle my money and how do I
in uncertain times.
That's right. But I guess, and for a lot of people who it didn't quite affect too much, you know, they're probably saving money. They're sitting there, they're not going out, they're not going to the movies, they're not going to dinner. They're saving plenty, you know. Yes. So it's good for some, not so much for others. But.
No, and I suppose that then said, okay, where are we going to spend our money? So were they buying stuff online, getting it delivered to home? Were they buying it internationally, or were they buying it, you know, locally around the country? It'd be interesting to know those stats.
It would be, yeah, that's true. I mean, I did quite a lot more online shopping, I think, every day. Someone was rocking up to the door.
I haven't been to the shops for a couple of days.
That's right. Especially books and stuff, because I'm someone that I like books. I like learning. Yeah, I do, because I just find ebooks, it's not the same thing.
You've got an Audible account?
No, I read the paper. I like the paper books. Okay. Yeah, that's just...
Is it better for the way that you learn, or have you tried to do the
No, I think it's just my eyes. I just like looking at paper rather than a screen. That's all it is. Not that I'm blind.
What about, more to the point to listening to audio?
Yeah, I listen to podcasts. So I'll go for a walk or a run or a ride and I listen to podcasts and I like that. Yeah. So...
But in regards to retaining information, do you prefer it from a book or from the audio? What do you get?
I don't know. I reckon it's both. I think it's both. Yeah, and then I suppose again, if you're looking at video, you're sitting there actually watching some sort of formal training. I guess you can take notes and stuff like that too. Yeah, but I still find a paper book just has a lot more value.
Oh, I'm with you there as well. I went for a period of time, probably for a couple of years, where it was all audio.
Okay.
I'm stopping audio. And then I've gone back to the book.
Yeah. So I reckon Booktopia, I've got shares in Booktopia.
What do they send you, a book?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But I think, you know, like I'm someone that just likes to learn all the time, and just on, I mean, not on stuff I already know, but things that I don't know about, you know, skills that perhaps I don't have that I haven't been taught over the years.
What you've been focused on.
Okay.
I could learn a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's important.
That pops to mind at the moment?
I've just started reading a book called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield, and I'm not sure if you know.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, and it's only a small little book. It was recommended by someone in a speakers group, but it's really good how he just talks about being an amateur or being a pro, and what he means by pro is just people like entrepreneurs like us. We're entrepreneurs, we like doing business, we like having we've always got some shiny object. What are we going to do next? We've always got these ideas, but how you actually get over the fear of being comfortable and safe and risk averse to turning pro, where you actually go out and you start a new business, you write a new book, you do something out of the ordinary that, you know, that everyone else isn't. That everyone else isn't doing. You know, because I think what he's saying is inherently most people like to be comfortable. They like their comfort zone, and the ones that we see, you know, the Richard Bransons and the John Maxwells of the world, they've actually done something that's not easy. It's hard work, and he's just talking about those sort of things.
Okay, yeah, excellent. Well, I'm going to have to pick that book up. So
that's the recommendation.
I appreciate it. That's good. Yeah. And I suppose you'd recommend books to your businesses that you coach?
Okay.
You probably have a standard.
I do. I do, and I even give them out at some of my events. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's that's the classic by Robert Kiyosaki. So if anyone hasn't read wants to know a bit more about finances,
hasn't read that.
I don't know. Some people haven't.
It's been around for a while.
I asked one of my clients, and she goes, "No, I haven't read it."
Hadn't heard of it.
No, hadn't heard of it.
Okay.
So Rich Dad Poor Dad. 15 Valuable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. That's one of my favourites that I give out as well. And the thank you guide, Daniel. The thank you, the hand wash and the body wash and that sort of those products. The products that they sell.
Yes, I know the thank you. Yes.
Thank you group. Daniel Flynn, I think he wrote a book called Chapter 1. You have the power to change stuff.
Okay.
So that one is recommended too. Yes, I finished that in a 4-hour flight to Perth once a few years ago. So,
You're like, this is the best thing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it's also not written that way. It's written that way.
Oh, it's one of those sort of.
It's written. No, you do it like that.
Okay.
You don't turn the page like that. You turn it up.
Okay.
I think he was just getting people to remember.
That's right.
And the beauty with that is you can go online and pay what you want. There's no price tag on it.
On that book?
Yes.
Oh, he's done it like that?
He's done it like that. So you can pay $20 or $1,000.
Once.
You can pay $1.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends.
Yeah.
And I suppose, what would you value it at? Is it a, $50 book, $100 book?
Yeah, it's probably a $30 book. But
yeah.
see, what he's doing is he's trying to end. He goes into most of the profits go to clean sanitation and water product, like water wells and stuff that he does in third world countries.
So
it's all charitable.
For that, you pay $100.
Well, that's right.
And then you get your value of your book.
Yeah.
So I like it. Very cool. Excellent.
So just research his company and what he's all about, and you'll find out why.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And I suppose moving on to that, you mentioned before that you do a fair bit of charitable stuff, or I don't know about a fair bit, but with the Adelaide, the business house. Sorry.
Business house.
Business house, yes.
They do. Yeah, they do some.
Right.
They just, they might have one event a year or something. Yeah, but so they're doing, a charity drive for Hutt Street Centre. So they're doing it up as a dinner in September, and you just pay sort of $55, and they have, silent auctions. They have a whole lot of donated goods, and you can donate blankets and all of those sort of things to the Hutt Street Centre. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
And so do you do other stuff outside of that in regards to any charity you're aligned with one? Or
no, not really.
Somebody says to you, hey, look, this
yeah, look,
great.
I'm a great believer that we're in business to give. I think that, if we're not that we have to give all of our money away, but I'm a great believer
if you've got a little bit of excess,
I think,
it's a good idea to give some.
I think it is. And I try and spread out my causes. I mean, I've got a church that I give to, and other sort of causes that because the phone calls that you get from charities, I'm not averse to it, but I just like to give to the ones that I believe are doing the right thing. Or that you have
It's like, that's what I'm saying about Hutt Street.
That you have a heart
talking
for.
about it, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something in that I could help with.
Yeah.
It's like when someone talks to you about it, you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll be involved in it. Yeah. I've been involved in the Rotary Club of Port Adelaide.
Oh, yeah.
About 10 years, I think I mentioned to you last time we caught up. I've been aligned to raising money that way. I'm coming to an end of that, and looking for other opportunities, other areas to give back time and give money away. So I don't know if there's anything that out there that's looking for some type of help.
No, I don't at this point, but
I'm sure there's a lot out
I'm sure
there,
there is. Yeah, that's right.
It just depends if you come across something.
I'm sure everyone's putting their hand up for volunteers. I don't think there's a lack of that.
In regards to saying that, I found that, or I heard that some charity organisations, obviously due to JobKeeper and all of that, have never made more profits than they've ever had.
Yeah, because there's some specific stimulus packages for not-for-profits.
Yeah, so they're
that's
actually
right.
having record years. Hopefully they're giving that money to the people that need it,
that's right.
Getting chewed up in administration, CEO fees and all of that
yeah,
stuff. So that's where my concern came when I was being told that information. Have you been involved in any not-for-profits? No,
not really. I mean, I was on a church board for a little while, but not complete. I'm not really. Not-for-profits is an area I haven't really got involved in much, especially in the accounting and finance side, because there's a whole lot of red tape and you have to be a specialist in that area to really know how all those things work. So no, I haven't to date. Yeah.
And your specialty is looking at the finances of business and turning that around. Do you have an example you'd like to tell our audience about that? Positive, negative? It's up to you. Yeah.
Look, I think, and it's not just about finances. A lot of the time when I come in and
or about the person.
Yeah, it is too. Yeah, and when you talk,
I didn't really want to go into that.
So I had an example. I had a post office, and they'd been an accounting client for many years, and they bought a post office, and they'd been in the industry for a long, long time. And they come to me sort of 6 months after they found themselves in a bit of difficulty.
It wasn't the chat to you before buying.
No, unfortunately. And so what they did, they got into a bit of cash flow problems. I think their wages were too high, etc. And they just went and borrowed money, which, I just said to them, look, you've got to stop.
They had other opportunities if they had spoken
to they would have, just to reduce costs. So they went and borrowed money. But, after sort of 12 months, they have started to turn it around a bit. I just said to them, one of the big things they said to me in the beginning was, I said, what do you need help with the most? I said, we don't understand finance. We just don't understand numbers, right? Okay, so first thing. Then I said to them,
so did they have, what was their goal? Just how much they can bring in for the day, or? Do they have like a specific?
No, they didn't have any goals, any plans. They didn't have a budget. They didn't have any of that stuff.
Let's aim to get as many customers through the door.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was let's just buy a business and see if it works, and hopefully they come. And they did. It was already there, and they built it up. It tripled in a few years. But what I said to him was, you're going to stop borrowing money, because what they were doing is just borrowing money to plug holes in a business where they were going wrong elsewhere in terms of their costs were too high, so we needed to get control of costs. And I said, you don't keep borrowing money. You get that debt, you pay it off, and you cut costs here, and here, and then we trade out of it. So a year later, it's been a bit of a long haul, but they have started to turn. And in some ways,
was there a bit of, pushing and prodding to
I had to be pretty harsh with them.
We don't always want to do what we're told.
Yeah, and just having a bit, and also spending time just having a bit of a brainstorm on what's their vision, what's their mission for their business, what are their values, what's their not negotiables, what sort of people do they want to employ, what have they got, what's their vision for the business. Like you said, they didn't have any of that. They didn't, and once they got their head around that stuff, they realised that it wasn't just about going in, working as hard as you possibly can, and they're making no money. There's a bigger picture, about a lifestyle and liking what you do and not being stressed out, not being overwhelmed, not having anxiety attacks, which is what was happening.
Most people just want to have an easy life.
Let's
try and make it as easy.
But it was affecting the mental health of both of the owners. They're having anxiety and weren't sleeping because of all this debt that was going on. So it has turned around, but it's been. And I said to them, Corona hitting is actually probably one of going to be perhaps your saving grace, because number one, their payments went on hold, and they've got all these cash flow boosts as well. So they're probably going to come out of it by December.
More people bought stuff online, so there's more.
There's more deliveries. All of that stuff. So for someone like them, it's going to be good.
Does something like that in 2 or 3 years' time still have that?
That's right, and they've got to continue that on.
They've got to work out what that business changes.
You don't want to get back to that point, and that's the thing. I've said to a lot of people is, you might be out of this now, you feel like you're out in the woods, but how do we now stop that from happening again? You can't keep making bad financial decisions and expect that your business, because I have a saying that's, if you look after your business is going to look after you. If you don't look after it in terms of you take too much money from it, or you spend too much, or you lend too much, or go and buy a Mercedes before you can afford it, then it's not going to look after you. So, and unfortunately that's what many people do, is they
prefer to cry on a Mercedes than they would.
That's right, get into business, they do well for the first few years, and they go, right, I can go buy a BMW or a Mercedes, but what they don't realise is that they need to be putting that money back into their business and reinvesting it to make sure that it looks after them, and that's how you look after your business. That's right. Not that I'm averse to Mercedes or BMWs. If you can afford it, fine. If you can't, don't.
Fair enough. And, I suppose, is there, have you noticed any, I think you sort of touched on before, but opportunities out there in any sector, I suppose, for a business owner to get into? And if they're thinking about obviously buying a business, have a chat to you first. But
I still think hospitality, because I do, because I think, like I said, it's the strong that are going to survive, right? It's the strong pubs and the strong cafes and the strong restaurants that have got a bit of an asset backing, or they've got a bit of cash in the bank that perhaps they might want to sell, I don't know, but the smaller ones that perhaps haven't done business well, you might see them going out of business in the next 6 months, and it's an opportunity for someone that's a little bit, I'm talking about people that are a bit business savvy, so maybe not a startup, they've already been in business, and they can see that they could come in and build that business up to something that is better than it already is.
So they've already got some asset backing. Okay.
And I think as well, people have been working from home as well. So there could be a lot of people that are in corporate or professional jobs as well that go, maybe I can do this better myself. So they might go, all right, I've been in a call centre.
I've been working there.
Yeah, so there could be opportunities for that as well. There's an example of a guy in Adelaide who worked in I think it was a Telstra call centre type of thing. He was doing marketing for them for 10 years, and he went, all right, I'm going to do this on my own, and he's built up a business now in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, and I think he services about 150 people in Adelaide on digital marketing.
Fantastic.
So he just saw an opportunity and went for it.
That's it. Going from a corporate to
and also again he went, okay, I need to learn some business stuff here, and I think he said he bought 150 business books
And
off a
read
gum tree and just read them all in a year or something like that,
That's one way
and
to do it,
just
yeah.
you know, learn
Self-taught and-
yeah. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes that's the best way.
Well, I love
yeah,
that.
it's a bit of
That
trial and
approach.
error,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got his money on the line. He's got his
Yeah, and all it's
service.
cost him is a bit of time and maybe $100, you
Yeah.
know. So
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. I suppose he probably would have read some of those books that you mentioned.
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
of course.
150.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, yeah, appreciate you coming along.
Thanks, Tom.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Well, how
mate.
did you find the wine, I suppose, to finish?
Yeah, I think it's great. Yep, organic. That's the way to go.
Yes, most people ask me why the organic that
yes.
sort of thing about it, and I suppose it's obviously less the sulphurs and the stuff in it, and I seem to find that it reacts better with my body drinking, so that's why
I've heard people say that. And also when I researched it, they were saying it was vegan friendly, a lot of these organic wines, because some of them have eggs and milk and stuff like that, which I actually didn't know.
And
so that's
now
a good thing.
yeah, some were already vegan friendly before.
Well,
it became
they
a
may
thing
have
to
been.
market, right?
Yeah, that's
what I've
right.
found
But
out.
many people are, you know, like gluten and stuff like that. And
So this is a good option for them.
Yeah,
that
that's
won't
right.
have any adverse.
Maybe it's the
effects.
way it's wine meant to be.
Well, I think so.
100
If you
years
read
ago,
some of
probably
it, they
was.
didn't have all this stuff that
No,
we chucked into
that's
it,
right.
and it was still drinkable. And
Yeah.
it was still drinkable, you know, a couple of
That's
years
right.
later. So, but it is expensive process to get yourself certified. So that's why there's
Yeah,
not that
okay.
many out there. So
Yep.
I think I've talked about it before, but to get to 20 or 30 organic podcasts is going to be quite difficult. We're even at, you know, number 5 when we're back to the first bottle we started.
That's it.
So, yeah, we're going to be struggling.
They
with
look a bit
different bottles.
closer, yeah.
If you stick with us and follow us in the future, you know, we're going to probably drink the same wine over and over. Thanks, Sarah, for coming along.
Thanks,
Appreciate
mate.
it.
Thanks for having me.